Terrence thrashed and mumbled through the gag, his bravado gone. Grandpa dragged him to a tree and tied him up. Then he pulled out a jar of honey and made sure that Terrence could see what it was.
Now, son, you ever heard of what bears do when they smell honey?
Terrence's eyes got even wider. He started shaking his head violently. I would be lying if part of me wasn't enjoying watching him squirm. Without his goons, Terrence was powerless.
Yeah, we don't understand you, boy. But at any rate, bears love honey, and they'll eat practically anything that is covered with it. So if I were to pour this all over you, then they would see you as just a tasty little treat.
Grandpa, are you serious?
Serious as a heart attack.
Grandpa opened the jar and started drizzling the honey all over Terrence's arms and legs. At first, Terrence tried to act tough, but when the sticky liquid covered his shirt, he broke. Big tears began pouring out of his eyes as he fought against the restraints, but couldn't make them budge. Once he was covered head to toe with the honey, Grandpa removed the gag from his mouth.
Okay, I'll stop. I swear I'll stop. Please don't leave me to be eaten by bears. Well, that's good to hear. But just keep in mind that the bears are always hungry, and we know where you live.
Grandpa untied him, and Terrence bolted so fast you'd think a bear was actually chasing him. Hi there, my name is Billy. I suppose you could say I live a pretty normal life, or at least I used to. But lately, school has been a living hell, and no one knows about it. Not my mom, not my dad, not even my older sister. No one except me and the kids who make my life miserable. It started a few months ago when Terrence and his goons decided I was an easy target. They called me ugly because I had eye problems and always wore my glasses.
Look what we have here. Hey, Billy, why are you such a whiny little bitch?
What? What did I do to you?
Oh, nothing. I just couldn't help but notice how whiny and annoying you are, and I wanted you to know.
Yeah,
surely someone as ugly and stupid looking as you would be used to it by now. He really is ugly and stupid, look at his glasses. You are so right, and a complete crybaby was too.
It wasn't just name-calling. No, they got creative. They tripped me in the halls, knocked my lunch tray out of my hands, stuffed garbage into my locker, and one time, they even locked me in a bathroom stall during gym class. It's not like I'm weak or anything. I just don't like fighting. That only made it worse.
Hey there, Billy.
Leave me alone, guys. I'm not in the mood today for your crap.
As if you have a choice. Give us your lunch money, you moron.
I don't have any. I brought my lunch today.
Then give us that. Why are you so stupid?
Even after I gave them my lunch, they still pushed me to the ground and started kicking and punching me. It was awful, and it was happening nearly every day, and it was making me feel depressed. But I never told my family. I mean, what would they think? My dad always told me to be strong, to stand up for myself. But how do you do that when the whole school is laughing at you? I didn't want to be a disappointment. So, I kept my mouth shut. At least I did. Until the day Terrence and his friends went too far. They cornered me on my way home, took my glasses, and beat me up, saying I had to bow and show respect when greeting them. When I refused, they attacked me even more, recorded the whole thing, and posted it online with the title, "Teaching a Nerd How to Respect His Elders." When I got home, my grandfather noticed the bruises and asked,
"Billy, what happened to your eye?"
I froze in the doorway, my backpack still slung over my shoulder. I had hoped I could sneak past Grandpa before he noticed, but there was no way to hide the swelling and bruising around my eye. "It's nothing, Grandpa. I just got hit in the eye with a baseball during gym class."
"Boy, don't you dare try to lie to me."
"It's nothing, Grandpa. Just an accident." Grandpa narrowed his eyes. He didn't believe me for a second. He leaned forward in his chair, fixing me with that stare of his, the one that could make a grown man confess his darkest secrets. Grandpa had been a detective for the local police department before he retired, and he still had a way of getting people to talk when he wanted to learn something.
"Billy, tell me who did this to you, and don't leave any details out."
My throat tightened. I didn't want to say it. I didn't want to admit that I was too weak to stop it. But then Grandpa did something I didn't expect. He reached over and placed a hand on my shoulder. It wasn't just any hand. It was rough, calloused from years of hard work, strong and steady.
"I ain't mad at you, son. I just want to help. But you have to tell me what happened or else I can't help you."
And just like that, the words tumbled out of me. I told him everything. About Terrence, about the humiliation, about how every day I felt like I was drowning and no one even noticed.
When I finished, Grandpa sat back in his chair and let out a long, slow breath. Then, he stood up and grabbed his keys. "Come on, boy. We're fixing this right now." "Wait, what? Where are we going?" "Just trust me. I know exactly what to do to make this right." Grandpa had grabbed several things from the kitchen, and then we headed outside to his truck. We drove in silence, the old truck rumbling beneath us. I had no idea what Grandpa had in mind, but when we pulled up to Terrence's house, my stomach dropped. "Grandpa, what are we doing?" "You'll see. Like I said, just trust me. I know what I'm doing." Grandpa got out, walked right up to the front door, and knocked. When no one answered, he walked around to the back of the house and was gone for a long time. I sat there gripping my seat, nervous as hell since I had no idea what he was planning to do or what he was up to. Part of me knew that I should trust him, but I was worried that whatever he was doing was only going to make things worse with Terrence and his goons. 10 minutes passed, then 20, and just when I was about to go knock myself, Grandpa came back out, with a large burlap sack slung over his shoulder. He walked straight to the truck, tossed it in the trunk, and slammed it shut. "What? What's in there?" "A surprise." I gulped. That didn't sound good, and what was worse was that I swear I saw the sack moving. We drove out to the woods, the air thick with tension. When we finally stopped, Grandpa pulled the sack out of the trunk and yanked it open. Inside was Terrence, tied up and gagged, his eyes wide with panic. I stumbled backward, not knowing what to do. This whole situation was just too crazy. "Grandpa, what the hell did you do? What are you planning to do?" "Relax, boy. We ain't hurting him. Just teaching him a lesson." "But won't we get in trouble for doing this?" "I was a cop, Billy. We won't even get a stern warning. Like I said, just trust me." Terrence thrashed and mumbled through the gag, his bravado gone. Grandpa dragged him to a tree and tied him up. Then he pulled out a jar of honey and made sure that Terrence could see what it was. "Now, son, you ever heard of what bears do when they smell honey?" Terrence's eyes got even wider. He started shaking his head violently. I would be lying if part of me wasn't enjoying watching him squirm. Without his goons, Terrence was powerless. Yeah, we don't understand you, boy. But at any rate, bears love honey, and they'll eat practically anything that is covered with it. So if I were to pour this all over you, then they would see you as just a tasty little treat. Grandpa, are you serious? Serious as a heart attack. Grandpa opened the jar and started drizzling the honey all over Terrence's arms and legs. At first, Terrence tried to act tough, but when the sticky liquid covered his shirt, he broke. Big tears began pouring out of his eyes as he fought against the restraints, but couldn't make them budge. Once he was covered head to toe with the honey, Grandpa removed the gag from his mouth. Okay, I'll stop. I swear I'll stop. Please don't leave me to be eaten by bears." "Well, that's good to hear. But just keep in mind that the bears are always hungry, and we know where you live." Grandpa untied him, and Terrence bolted so fast you'd think a bear was actually chasing him. We both laughed heartily as we saw him run away, and honestly, it felt really good to be the one making Terrence feel fear rather than the other way around. The next day, on my grandpa's advice, I sent a little gift basket to the rest of my bullies. Inside was a jar of honey and a note. "If you don't stop, you're next." All of them stopped, except one. Greg. He came to school and came straight up to me to confront me. I could tell he thought it was all just a bluff. As soon as he saw me, he laughed in my face. What he didn't know was that Grandpa had enrolled me in a karate school and kept track of my progress to ensure I learned basic self-defense skills. I kept that a secret at school, only attending karate classes after school. You really expect me to believe that crap? Please, you're still just a loser. Leave me alone, Greg. I'm not gonna put up with your crap anymore. Oh, please. None of us believe for a second that you have the balls to do anything. None of us are actually afraid of you. Something inside me snapped. I was done being scared. I was done running. So when Greg shoved me, I shoved back. Hard. I wasn't going to back down because that meant that things would just return to the way they were before, and I wasn't willing to endure that again. He swung first, but I dodged. And then I hit him. I don't know how many times, but by the time a teacher pulled me off him, Greg was crying and bleeding from where I busted his nose. And all my former bullies saw me do it, and I could see the fear in their eyes. No one messed with me after that. Not Greg, not Terrence. No one.
And every time I saw Grandpa after that, he just gave me a knowing smile. Every now and then, he would ask if we needed to buy any extra honey, and I was always proud to tell him that we didn't need to. In hindsight, I really should have trusted him the whole time and not questioned him. He taught me a very valuable lesson that day. I thought that was the end of it all, not knowing Grandpa had another plan. He had tracked all of them and gathered enough evidence against Greg and Terrence. He even downloaded the video of the day they bullied me, along with other horrible things they had posted, like insulting a girl for refusing to date them and making all sorts of hurtful jokes online. Grandpa went to the school and reported them to the principal, conveniently leaving out the part where I beat up Greg or when we kidnapped Terrence. The principal expelled them from school. I later heard that they've changed and are now good students. I guess sometimes you just need a little help standing up for yourself. Thanks for watching.